Welcome to the Power Lunch Podcast, your midday dose of boldness, brilliance, and a little bit of badassery. I'm Amy Sousa, here with my powerhouse co-hosts, Tracie Munce and Lisa Carmichael, and we're coming in hot to shake things up. Each week, we dish out bite-sized, high-impact conversations on business, health, purpose, wealth, and the wild, beautiful chaos in between. Whether you're building your dream, rebooting your story, or just catching your breath, this is your space to get grounded, inspired, and reignited. This isn't just another podcast, it's your power move. Let's go.
Tracie and Amy, I'm excited to be back with you recording another podcast. This is such a fun opportunity for us to share things that we are going through in our lives. And the health conversation is really where we left off, and we want to continue on today. Tracie, what's going on in your life with health?
You know, that's really fascinating because I was just talking to a friend of mine actually I was talking to a couple friends of mine, and it feels like every time that, and we're in an accountability group, and it feels like every time we have a meeting, there's always one more person that's like, health is like my top value, right? I really need to get my health under control. And what's happening a lot of times is we say that it's our top value, but we're doing everything possible, at least for me, to make it not my top value.
To avoid it?
To avoid it.
Yeah.
To avoid it.
How about you, Amy?
I'm excited about this conversation today.
I'm really excited about this conversation. I had my health journey the last 18 months. I'm, you guys know I've lost 115 pounds in the last 18 months, and it's definitely a mindset. It's something that you stick to every single day. So I'm really excited to learn some new things today about.
Oh, Amy, I just love what you're up to and the confidence that you've gained since meeting you, maybe
You've
2 years.
and gained.
Yes,
all
Yeah,
18
absolutely.
months.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. Good point. Good
Definitely
point.
that mindset. The mindset wasn't there on day one. I wouldn't be where I am today.
Well, we're excited to introduce our guest, Jessica Guerrero, who's going to be joining us today. Jessica is a nurse, a national board-certified health and wellness coach, and emotional and binge eating specialist. Jessica has helped countless women break free from the cycle of dieting and rediscover a sustainable, joyful way to nourish their body. With over 15 years in nursing, Jessica, you've seen firsthand how food struggles impacts over health for women, and you have a newfound mission once you became a nurse. So you realize that you can help women reclaim their time and energy and money by ditching diets and embracing lasting wellness. Was this like an aha moment for you, or did this just kind of like make sense to you to segue into this business that you started?
I mean, it all kind of happened slowly over time. I went back to get my master's in integrative health and wellness because it just sounded like fun. And I knew I wanted to do something different. I burned out of my nursing career for like the third time. And I was kind of in love with lifestyle medicine. I like and all of the things. And so this program just sounded like fun. So I did it. And along the way, I became eligible to be a health coach, and I fell in love with the process of coaching. I think it does what traditional medicine doesn't do, and it places the person at the center and really honors how they want to change. It's a very collaborative process, so I'm never telling women exactly what to do. I am walking alongside them as they unfold with their change.
Did you have some personal things that happened in your life? Was there anything that was like, obviously you saw the need for it, but what really was the catalyst for you to say, I'm leaving nursing and I'm going to work on this assisting? Is it primarily women, or do you work with men?
I do work with men, but I primarily work with women. This is a really vulnerable topic, and we get pretty deep into people's lives and storytelling, and men sometimes time with that. And that's okay. So really I market primarily to women. I love working with women and hearing their stories and helping kind of reshape their lives in a new way.
Well, and Amy is such a good example of that. I mean, Amy, what happened in your life that you decided, this is it, I'm going to make a change?
What it really was my scale said 297 pounds. And I thought, oh my God, I'm almost at 300 pounds. I can't shop in regular boutiques or clothing stores anymore. What size is next? And that was when my mindset shifted and I started walking on the treadmill every day. And once you get 10 pounds off, it's easy to get 20 pounds off, and you just keep going. And it was changing one thing and being consistent with it daily. It wasn't everything all at once.
Why was this time different than
Everything all at once.
Why was this time different than, I mean, for me, it was the 100 times before.
It was that 300-pound scale that scared the daylights out of me. I couldn't even get off the floor. You know, you can't jump up. Now I'm out riding a bike again. It just feels so much better today than it did a year and a half ago.
What kind of mindset shifts do you have to have when you're obviously you've worked with women that have been in, you know, the weight just is coming. First off, how does perimenopause and menopause fit into this conversation? In that, I mean, I remember turning 50 and all of a sudden, not only did I get a birthday cake, but I got an extra 10 pounds that I don't remember requesting, right?
Right.
So,
I mean, our hormones hugely impact our body and our energy and so many other things. And unfortunately, there's been a really long period of time where women's research has everything yet about perimenopause and menopause. And I hope we're moving into a place where that's being more studied right now, but we don't have all the answers exactly, and every person is different, which is why one of the things that I really bring to my approach is an individualized approach. I don't believe in one-size-fits-all health coaching because I don't believe that every woman is the same. Every woman's hormones are different. Every woman's body responds to food and exercise differently. And so we can't just have a one-size-all prescription for healthy living. I'm putting quotes around that because every single person is different. And health looks different to everyone. So in my work, I don't focus on weight loss. It can be a happy accident for people, but I invite people to focus on health. And what does that mean to you? So we, at the very beginning of working together, define what does healthy living look like for you? What do you want to get out of this journey? And so we're shifting our focus from the weight journey. And so we're shifting our focus from the weight, which can be, data-driven and very singular, to a little bit more of an expansive idea of what do you really want your life to look like? When you say, I want health to be a top value or a top priority, what do you mean by that? And for a lot of my clients, it's, I want to be able to get up off the floor. I want to be able to chase my grandkids around. I want to be able to, go for a walk without huffing and puffing. I want to be able to travel and not, have to buy an extra seat. And so sure, the size of a body matters, but I really invite people to, you can't hate yourself into a version that you love. So no matter what the number on the scale is, let's break up with that for now, because that means nothing about you as a person, really. It's not the most interesting thing about you. And as women, for so long, we have been told that our size and our weight is the most interesting thing. And so I really invite people on feeding ourselves properly, forgiving ourselves quickly when we put something in our mouths that maybe we didn't feel good about because it wasn't a mindful choice, and then focusing on health, not weight for now.
Right.
Absolutely.
So I'm also on a health journey or a releasing of some weight journey, knowing that, my joints and obviously being in menopause. But the other day I was at work and I was so busy, and there's 3 donut holes left and they were caked in sugar. Okay. And I'm like, I knew it. I looked at them. I'm like, you should throw these away. And I left them there. And finally I found myself with a donut hole in my mouth. And then I was like, I'll throw away the other 2. And I'm like, no, you will throw away the one in your mouth.
Oh, right? I would have eaten it.
But it is those minute decisions that we make right in the moment. Because I can be very intentional and say, I'm intentionally in this donut hole. Because I can be very intentional and say, I'm intentionally eating this donut hole, which is that mind shift that I needed to have, like, no, you know what? It's okay in the moment to say this isn't okay. What are some of the things that you would recommend right off the bat for somebody that's starting on their health journey and maybe, they don't have somebody like you in their life?
Yeah. I mean, I really think that the key to any kind of sustainable change is self-compassion. We have to be kind to ourselves. Again, we can't hate ourselves into a version that we love. So we have to learn to be nice to ourselves and speak nicely to ourselves, because we're going to mess up. We're going to feel like I put the donut in my mouth and where did that come from? And this feels crappy. But how you act and behave with yourself in that moment really matters. If I'm going to continue to have this nasty little gremlin monster on my shoulder and be like, ugh, I can't believe you did that. I'm so disgusted with myself, and start just berating yourself in that moment, that's making me more likely to go do it again. If I'm like, oh, well, it's in my mouth, and I guess I'm just going to take a second and enjoy it, and, think about what were the circumstances leading up to it. Maybe what can I learn from this experience, and trying to be more mindful in the future. Like, oh, I'm a human. Cool. Move on. That is going to make it actually a growth moment, and more likely that it doesn't happen in the future. So no matter what it is, like you didn't get up with this morning, you snooze the alarm too many times, like, okay, you can reset and try again. You're a human.
What if that nasty gremlin isn't on your shoulder but sitting next to you? Because we don't always have the support, right? Like, people like us to be the way that we are.
Absolutely.
And the minute we start on a health journey, whatever that is, going for walks, waking up earlier to journal and get those thoughts out of your head, those thoughts out of your head, or just eating healthy. Everybody like, oh, you're going to eat rabbit food now. Like, how do you what are some skill sets or some tools that we could use for those people? And also, we don't see the scale move, or we don't see the health come back right away. Mm-hmm. What are some of those things that we could do in the moment, or as we're navigating a new lifestyle, to stay positive?
Yeah. I mean, Amy said a really important thing earlier. She talked about picking one thing and being consistent with it. So you can overhaul your life and change everything all at once. It's probably not going to be sustainable. So even when I work with clients, and this is what I encourage people to do on their own too, is pick one area, pick one thing. So if you really want to work on managing your stress right now, pick that and just kind of stick with it for a while. And also define what success looks like for you. Baby steps, not like for stress management. Maybe it's just, I want to feel 2% less angry every day.
Right.
Or I want to be able to, in the moment, make a mindful decision, like in my interactions with one specific person. So choose one small step that you can be consistent with in whatever you're working on. And I think that's something everyone can do on their own. And to your point, if you don't have support can be really important. So trying to find support, but also with those people in your life who maybe aren't going to support you, you are entitled to boundaries.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And you get to say what's okay and what's not okay for you. So oftentimes, especially in my work with women, it is they don't want people to comment on their food or their bodies. And they have a really hard time with, the mom in their life that comes and is like, oh, you're looking kind of chunky, or, oh, are you sure that looks good on you? Or are you sure you want to eat that? And making these comments. It's okay for you in that moment to say, Mom, I know this is meant to say, Mom, I know this is coming from a nice place, but I don't want to hear these comments from you.
How does that come from a nice place? But we also know that they have their own trauma that they're dealing with.
So it's coming from a kind and caring place. That's how, so many women had it from their moms or their grandmothers before them. So they just don't know better yet. And when we know better, we can do better. So we get to control what comes out of our mouths about it. But we're also entitled to boundaries to say what's okay and what's not okay. Like, I don't want to talk about my body. I don't want to talk about my body with you. I don't want to hear comments. I don't want to hear questions on food, weight, anything. You get to set those boundaries, and it can be very uncomfortable and super hard to have those conversations. So my little pro tip there is, as soon as you set the boundary or say no or do whatever it is, just do something nice to take care of yourself and regulate your nervous system. And then when they come back and inevitably test your limits, because they're going to, because humans are humans, do the same thing again. Restate the boundaries, stand firm, because otherwise things will never change. And then also do something nice to take care of yourself again, whatever that means to you. Go for a walk. Call somebody that you do really trust or care about. Journal. Watch a funny TV show. Like, whatever it is to you. Just do something that feels nice to
I always
regulate your
visualize
nervous system.
myself giving myself a high five every time
I love
hit
that.
you know, like I'm in a boundary, like I stand up or I do, you know, I hold my boundary. I'll go into the bathroom and just be like, look at you, do a little shimmy. Like,
I love it.
You did that, right? Like, I think the more we can tell ourselves, you know, oh, I see what you did there. Well done. Maybe you didn't do it perfectly. Maybe you didn't hold it as firm as I would like. I constantly go back to the Kanai that I learned with Tony Robbins, constant and never ending improvement of what did I do well there? Always asking myself in those new situations, what did I do well?
Jessica, I like the coaching program that you offer because it's not about the relationship with food. It really is the relationship with yourself. Now, as we age, what does happen with the cortisol levels, you know, the hormone levels when we're talking about perimenopause and menopause? What are you noticing that is changing in our bodies that we get stuck on?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to just preface by saying I'm not a perimenopause or menopause specialist. So I don't want to put that out there. But what I see happen with women a lot is they get really stuck. Because of cortisol, sleep becomes really challenging when we're in menopause and perimenopause. And sleep has a huge impact on our hunger and fullness hormones. And so when we're not sleeping well, that can really mess with things. And how did things go that day? Like, you're not as apt to probably get a workout or a walk-in. You're making different decisions about food and stress management because you're starting the day with higher cortisol. So you're already kind of set up poorly, and then you've got these hunger hormones that are kicking in, or they're kind of like running rampant, like toddlers, and it's really hard to keep them in check, and willpower is not going to happen. It's not going to work. So in those moments, we have to be compassionate with ourselves. We have to do whatever we can to help ourselves make decisions that feel good for us, whatever that means to you.
Well, and cortisol is one of the hormones that's really most talked about right now. What else is being talked about a lot when it comes to food and health?
I mean, so we're in a really interesting kind of shift in health and wellness culture right now that I actually don't love. We are kind of taking steps back in my mind, and I'm seeing a lot of hashtag skinny queen, hashtag skinny culture coming back online. And I was really hopeful that we had kind of quashed that there for a little bit because I really don't think everybody's meant to be in one kind of body. And so unfortunately, that's kind of what I'm seeing in the world right now, and I don't love it. And I think there's many different reasons for that rise of that. And
for sure. I mean, I'm not in the body that I thought I'd be in.
You know what's really interesting is that question actually was one that I was thinking about. Like, wouldn't it be great if we could go back to the Victorian age where all those all the paintings were of women of natural sizes.
Yeah, but cover everything up with a big dress.
Oh, yes. And they actually add more volume. Yet there has been a shift, and it was, I remember Twiggy in the 80s, sticks thin. And there came this culture of thin, right? And there is also fat thin, where they don't have any actual muscle fat, muscle. They die really young, or they're not healthy at all. But do you think that and also, I guess, obviously you think because society, we have the Kim Kardashians that are augmenting their body with, new surgeries or with diets and things like that. How do we combat that, though? How do you talk to, because when I look at my life, and I'm at an age where I rarely compare myself, or I try not to compare myself to you, right? I wouldn't compare myself to Lisa because I am intelligent enough that Lisa and I have different lifestyles. Lisa is, 5 inches shorter than me. Lisa, does things. She doesn't have the same body, but I'm comparing myself to my 30-year-old self body. And that's really where I get hung up, is I look in the mirror and I'm like, well, I'm not 30 anymore, and I'm not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How do you help women through that? First, the comparison, and also social media. I think of our young girls, and if they are not a certain size, I'm sure you have it with Allie that, if you're not a certain size, you're picked on. And then, I think Allie has a beautiful sport. Like she's got this
solid
sports,
as a rock,
right?
yeah.
Like this sports physique. What do you do? What are some tips?
First thing, I do a lot of body image work, which I can't sum up in like a couple minutes. The core of it is really, we go back to who you are as a person, who you want to be in health. What does that mean to you? Does health really mean being in a tiny body? Is that what that means? Because there are plenty of skinny people out there that are very unhealthy. Right. So if we're focusing on health and not weight or size, that invites automatically us to be able to have a different focus. And so let's think about what your body is doing for you. What do you want it to do? Do you want it to be able to get up off the floor and be strong enough to chase grandchildren around? That has nothing to do with being thin. Mm-hmm. It has everything to do with being healthy and strong, which means we've got to feed ourselves properly and be able to move our bodies. So there's the two things that we can focus on. So there's nothing we can do to control how our body is responding to perimenopause or menopause. It's going to do what it's going to do. And I honor that freaking sucks. Like the night sweats and the hot flashes are for real, and it is not fun. Right. And still, how can we kind of focus on what we can do with our body and what we want it to do, and have that kind of be our vision of maybe my body's not the same as it was when it was 30, but what do I want it to be able to do when it's 70?
Sure.
Or 80? And so I just had this conversation with one of my clients, and she was telling me about a grandparent in her life that she has, and she's like, I want to be like that when I'm older. And I'm like what? And she's moving around, all this stuff, and really gave me a beautiful picture of this woman and how she's still living independently, and she's a badass, moving and shaking all the time, and nothing's gonna slow her down. And I'm like, cool, what does that have to do with everything that we're talking about right now? And she's like, oh yeah, it means I need to keep doing my movement. That's got to be feed my body well in a nourishing way. Cool. Okay, so there it is. There's our focus. It can be that simple.
I love that. Stop focusing on the past. Focus on those futures.
Absolutely.
Right? That's such a great. I have a question, and I know this topic is, and I apologize to the other ladies. How do you eat healthy when on the move? Because I haven't eaten fast food in years. I used to have a rule that if I was traveling to Sioux Falls, I could eat McDonald's. I don't travel to Sioux Falls very often anymore, so thus I don't eat McDonald's often. How do you do that when there's so many fast food options and quick stops? What are some tips for that?
Yeah, I do travel a lot, and so this is a hot topic for me of how do I eat, especially if I have to go on a plane or whatever, because airport food is unpredictable and you never know.
Unless you're flying first class. Don't eat the food going international. I'm just saying. Yeah. Bring your own.
Fair. So having a plan of what does my day look like, and a little bit of meal prep goes a long way. So it doesn't need to be 4 hours on a Sunday where you're giving your whole life over to creating a meal plan. Mm-hmm. It can be super simple of I know I have some things that I can take. So maybe it's protein powder that I can take on the plane and mix with water or a milk or something on the plane. I'm obsessed with chopsticks, and things where I can get quick protein on the go. Nut mixes are awesome.
Oh, you said chomp sticks, not chopsticks.
No.
I thought, does chopsticks work? That means you eat slower and you don't eat as much.
Hey, maybe that's a good idea.
That is actually.
I was like, that's a great pro tip.
That is actually a habit interruption strategy I use with clients because there's so much of the neuroscience. Anyway, but yeah, just having a plan for things that are for you while you're moving. And maybe it is that you get part of like a burger from McDonald's and then you have a plan for something else on the side, like an applesauce to go or whatever other snack your preference is. But thinking about it ahead of time can be very helpful.
I love that. Thank you.
Yeah.
I was going to say, sometimes I stop at the gas station and get a boiled egg or a thing of fruit instead of stopping at Burger King.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Which I never would have done before. Or I forgot my protein shake and they sell the protein shakes.
Perfect.
So I stop at the gas station.
I love that.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, we're at our 20 minutes, so this went really super fast. You know, we talked about a lot of different things, but I want to give you an opportunity if there's something that you really wanted to talk about right now that you really want to make sure that you're offering some insight to the women that maybe, and we're going to put all your show in the show notes. We'll have how we can reach out to you and start working with you, because as I believe so wholeheartedly, having a coach while we're on our journey that's how we move the needle quickly. Even Michael Jordan had a coach, and he was one of the best basketball players in the world. So we want to make sure that people can connect with you. But what is something that you really want to make sure that people know before we sign off today?
Yeah, I think the message that I really want people to hear right now is that you can be healthy at many different sizes. You do not have to fit in one specific box to be considered quote unquote healthy. This can occur at many different sizes. So if you have tried all the diets, if you've done a lot of different things in your life and it's been kind of like a never-ending cycle or wheel for you, there is support out there. And a lot of it is not you, it's your brain. And so I often give talks about the neuroscience of it, and I would love to have anybody at one of those talks, or if you are a space that has talks, bring me in, because I love talking about it and nerding out about it all the time.
All right. Ladies, do you have any other things you want to share?
I have something for you. If you had just 5 minutes a day to improve your health, how would you use it?
Moving my body. It's my number one thing, because I mean, it brings down my stress, it helps me sleep, and it helps me make better food choices. I just feel better when I do it, so I would spend it on moving my body in some way.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
So
guys.
we were able to share time with you at our last Power Luncheon, which was all about health. So this extra 20 minutes, 25 minutes with you has been such a blessing. We'd love to have you back again. So I am already counting the days until we can get you back again to have another conversation. Thank you so much. We, again, will put everything in the show notes, and thanks for your time.
Thank you guys for inviting me. This was great.
Cheers.
Thanks, Jessica.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us for today's episode. If something we shared sparked a new idea, gave you a fresh perspective, or simply made you feel seen, we'd love for you to pass it on. Share this episode with a friend, a colleague, or a fellow powerhouse woman who's walking her own journey. And if you haven't yet, don't forget to subscribe so you'll never miss an episode. Until next time, keep showing up, keep rising, and remember, there's no ceiling you can't break through.